Unfortunately, upper cervical care is still the best kept secret in healthcare, and we're trying to change that. You know, these videos are a part of that change. UpperCervicalCare.com is doing its part as well. But you know, to fully understand why upper cervical care hasn't fully infiltrated society, you've got to understand its history.
In 1893, a man by the name of Daniel David Palmer, went by the name D.D. Palmer, he was working in his office one night, and he had a janitor there that was telling him about how he lost his hearing like 17 years ago. And what happened was he heard a little pop sound up in his neck, and then all of a sudden his hearing went away. Well, D.D. said, well, let's take a look at your neck and see if maybe we can figure out what happened to make you lose your hearing. So when he started feeling around his neck, he felt a little lump, and what happened was he pushed on that lump and made a popping sound. Well, at first nothing happened. So he did it 3 days in a row and pushed on that lump and popped that neck, and boom, his hearing came back all of a sudden. So D.D. Palmer said, I've got the cure for all deaf people. D.D. had people coming from all over the world with deafness. Well, not all the deaf people got their hearing back, but what he found was that a lot of other conditions started clearing up. People had kidney problems that cleared up and heart conditions and stuff like that. So then his son comes into the picture, B.J. Palmer, who is known as the developer of chiropractic, because he took what D.D. was doing, which was basically pushing up and down 3 times on each side of the spine, any high spot, just pop, 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 popping anything he could pop. And some people got better, some people didn't. BJ decided, hey, we need to narrow this down. We need to find out why some people are getting better and some people aren't. So in 1935, BJ started a research center. And he started off with just like what D.D. did, and was adjusting all the way down one side and all the way back down the other side, was pushing all the high spots. And he narrowed it down and did less and less and less, and he found his results got better and better and better. And when it was all done, and by the end of his 16 years of research of only the worst of the worst cases, he found that it was one of the top 2 bones in the body, the upper cervical spine, that was the cause of pretty much all of these ailments. So that was in 1951, by the time the research was finished. Well, during that time from 1893 to 1951, there was a lot of people who learned D.D. Palmer's process of adjusting up and down the spine, up and down the spine. Well, by 1951, when the upper cervical research came out, there had been a lot of other schools had popped up all over America that were teaching people how to adjust the entire spine. Well, B.J. Palmer did the upper cervical work, and then he later left the clinic and died in 1961. Well, that was only a 10-year span where upper cervical was taught at a full-time level out of his school. When B.J. passed, his son, David Palmer, then took over the college. Well, B.J. Palmer was known all over the world. He had been to the White House with 4 different presidents. He took care of Dr. Mayo and his family from the Mayo Clinic. He was world-renowned. Well, his son David had kind of lived in his shadows, so when B.J. then passed, David Palmer came in and he removed everything that had B.J. on it, removed all the upper cervical stuff, and went back to the full spine model, which is taught in most of the schools across the country today. So even as recently as 20 years ago, I would say there were a handful of upper cervical doctors. Now in the last 10, 12 years, there's been a real surge in growth and popularity in upper cervical, especially the last 4 or 5 years with the production now of documentaries on upper cervical, huge conferences. Now we've got postgraduate diplomat programs. So now the upper cervical work is really starting to pick up some momentum, which may be why you're hearing about it now, because of web pages such as this.